everyone, and welcome back. So my people, the truth is gradually coming out about this alleged coup plot against Tinubu government. You guys know when this news came out, so the military, they came out and they denied it, and also people were connecting it with the October 1st celebration, the reason why Tinubu canceled that particular event. So after that, we heard that some of the Nigeria army or soldiers were arrested, even some were sacked, including CDS Christopher Musa. So Nigerians were asking, like, what is going on? If truly that this coup plot is not true, why all this sacking, arresting, even replacing the CDS? So even when we saw some names they published that they are connected to this alleged coup plot, even some northerners, they have already come out that Tinubu government need to come out and tell Nigerians if truly there was coup plot or not. Okay, so yesterday again, Nigeria army raid Abuja resident of Buhari's former petroleum minister, Timiprep Silva, even arrested the brother. According to the news, he is involved in this coup plot, allegedly, right? Because they have come out today to confirm that, yes, military raided his house, but he is not involved in the coup plot. Anyway, I hope that one day, Tinubu government, they will come out and tell us, like, what really happened. If there was coup plot against this government or not, right? But I would love you guys to listen to this particular video because a lot of people are now coming out, so even some have already confirmed that yes, there was coup plot, but they failed. So in this video, you're going to hear the reason why this coup plot against this Tinubu government failed. Take a listen. Do well to subscribe for more updates, like the video, share it, and leave your thoughts in the comment section.
Joining us to discuss a very topical issue today is Captain Aliu Umar, retired. Captain, you've been under the radar for a while now, but I feel just so good that I'm able to bring you out just to, answer to this very vexed issue of, a coup attempt on this administration. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening, Gimba. I've been under the radar, yes, but I've been in my observatory and just taking things in.
Okay, when you heard first about this attempted coup, what came to your mind?
There was a time, Gimba, way back, I think that will be 2005. I used to write for a magazine or a newspaper. It was called the Ikoyi Obalende Times. The Ikoyi Obalende Times was a weekly publication then, and I used to do a security column there. And so when I heard about the coup on Saturday, incidentally, I was in a studio when someone scribbled it and passed it up to me. I was speaking about the subject of that security column I used to write in 2005. And one of the subject matters of my column then as a columnist was provoking the unexpected. So I was actually speaking to our leaders, I was speaking to our politicians to ensure that their conduct, specifically to ensure they upheld responsible political and social conduct, so they don't end up unwittingly provoking the unexpected. I had barely said this when someone jotted it down on a piece of paper and passed it to me that the Defense Intelligence Agency had just said they had foiled an attempted. So here's the thing. Much as schools are not trending anymore, much as military rule is outmoded or outvoted, let's not forget Nepal, if I'm not mistaken. Let's not forget Bangladesh. Let's not forget closer home, Mozambique, if I'm mistaken, correct me. Let's not forget our neighboring Niger, and let's not forget Burkina Faso. You see, human beings, are creatures of, and we are social in nature. We respond to all manner of stimuli, financial, political, social, cultural, you mentioned. And where we do not want to see ourselves go back 40, 50, 60 years, it also behoves our leaders not to behave as they should or would be doing 40, 50 years back. So when I heard about the coup, I just took it with a pinch of salt. And from my observatory, I have been triangulating and doing some permutation. And it's not really looking good.
When you did your permutations, uh, Nigeria is going through a very difficult time now. The economy is really biting. This reminds me of the time past during the 60s, the 70s, when those coups take place, and then they've been so bloody and bad. Do you think that the economic situations we are prevailing on in Nigeria today triggered the reasoning of the alleged coup plotters? Do you think that triggered them to want to act as we saw in the past?
Well, if you look at it, life in Nigeria in the past 10 years has been progressively unbearable. Progressively unbearable. Now, when I'm talking life here, I'm not talking about the politician's life, nor am I talking about any big military chieftain's life. But I'm talking about life for a particular bracket of people who populate this country up to, last time I checked, up to 81% or 82%. And that's the youth. Some people want to refer to them as Gen Z. You see, these people beings, as I speak to you, populate the entire strata of active Nigerian life. They are tomorrow's people. They are in the armed forces, they are in the police, they are in the civil sector. If you go to multinationals and oil companies, when they tell you able-bodied men, if you go to multinational companies and private companies, when they tell you management trainees, they're talking about youth. When you go for recruitment in the armed forces, the police, the civil defense, whatever, they say able-bodied men and women. They're not talking about me. They're not talking about pensioners. They're talking about this able-bodied young generation of youth. They are the hustlers. They are today's people. And on the trajectory of 10, 15 years, they are going to be the active people in the helm of affairs in Nigeria. So here's the thing. A lot of them are not happy. Me, I may have done the things they are doing now 20, 15 years ago, and that's true. But I tell you as we speak, a lot of them are trying to put their children in schools. A lot of them are trying to rent homes, not even build one. A lot of things are happening, whether in the armed forces, in the banking sector, anywhere. And if the economy is not smiling with them, do you think they will be happy? They won't be happy. There'll actually be a bit of rest.
But then the question is this: even if they are not happy, even if they are not happy, as you say, does it warrant staging a coup?
To start with, before I answer, does it warrant staging a coup? Let me first of all ask, what is the position of the government and the armed forces, intelligence agencies on the coup? We're getting conflicting, release. As we speak, there is what I want to call an information vacuum. And you know what happens when you have an information vacuum? The subject and object of interest begins to lose credibility. One. Two, anything you find in that vacuum, whoever takes up that place immediately becomes a credible source. Some are saying there was, others are saying there wasn't. So let me come back to your question. You see, I'll tell you something. People, being creatures of habit and social in nature, will do what they have to do if there are no options open to them. Everyone wants to survive. Everyone wants to survive, regardless whether the means of survival is legal or illegal. Once it comes to survival and people need to survive, then they will have to do what they will to survive. That's just why I want to put it. if indeed there was a coup, something pushed those young people or those officers to do so. If there wasn't, then the positions that are being taken by the different authorities should triangulate. Getting
Okay, if I may butt in there, my apologies. Why did this coup fail? Why do you think this coup failed?
I'll tell you why. If there was any, it was probably plotted and conceived of by three percentages actually, by officers who were too young to understand the dynamic of trying to spring one in a country like ours. The next thing why I would say it did not succeed is because the timing probably was wrong. Let me tell you why. From my wayside observatory, I have been triangulating, and as I told you, just watching. Now, don't forget, we had a national parade that was cancelled outright. You recall the 1st of October was cancelled? You recall when we do not have a 1st of October parade, we do have what you call a change of guards parade, where the commander-in-chief appreciates the guards brigade changing guards ceremonially. Do you recall? None of that happened. Now, here's the thing. Jimba, if you had a wedding and you had to cancel your wedding 2 days or thereabouts to the wedding, definitely something compelling must have made you cancel. Okay, I know you're married, so please, madam, excuse us. There's not going to be a wedding. But trust me, if you had a wedding and 48 hours, D-Day plus 48 hours, you cancelled it, there will be a lot of costs. There will be a lot of invited people who will have to be what? Rescheduled. There will be a lot of people who have already, the RSVP, upon the civil play part of your invitation. They will have already been ticked off there as they're attending. So imagine the things that would have had to happen where heads of government, captains of industry, my lords, spiritual and temporal, all the diplomatic community, 2 days to time, appointment, accommodations booked, embassies have already taken care of all the protocols and the itineraries, advanced parties of heads of government and state would have arrived in Nigeria. Their security teams would have come in to clear where they are going to stay. Their protocol teams would have come in to take care of what they will be doing during that period until they leave. Ambassadors of such countries will be on their toes in expectation, and suddenly you hear it's been cancelled. The reason for cancellation has to be compelling. That is one. The next thing I want to tell you is the service chief suddenly became what? Tired. Yeah, it's a shake-up, blah, 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 blah. I would have expected that. If the service chiefs were going to be fired, there would have been some sort of ceremonial announcement. There would have been sort of, I mean, thank you for your service. But the way it was announced, it was like, it was a knee-jerk announcement. Nobody was expecting it. And then, if you are in the military and you understand where the dice has fallen with the class or cost of the present service chiefs, you will know that an entire generation has just been told they can fold their mats and start going home. It's game over. So when you triangulate these things, it begins to give some kind of credence to the coup claim. But then, as I told you, those officers were too young. They were too. Those officers are not troop commanders per se. They don't carry the gravitas, if I to have moved for a coup that would, if you use the attack surface that they would have commanded, if you want to use cybersecurity language, their attack surface was still very small and it's ignorable. So that's what I'm saying. There are too many question marks and there are too many gray areas, and the involved institutions are also not saying much So there's what I want to call an information vacuum still hanging. And when you look about it, go ahead.
Captain, this is your forte. I mean, the military is your playing ground, if I will, for lack of a better word. But when you look at the optics of this attempted coup, planned coup, whatever it is, what happened was such that the NSA had, Madam Nuhu Ribadu has been, being on the receiving side. I mean, you're the NSA. You should get first-hand information about any security breach in the country. Now, the accusations on his head now are that he has failed to progress along that line. He has failed to, live up to that expectation because Mr. President gave him the NSA, knowing fully well that this is a police officer and has not reached the experience of ranking generals in the military who were more qualified. That's how the narrative goes. More qualified than Nuhu Ribadu. Do you think that if Mr. President had made a different choice and had a military personnel to become NSA for him, do you think that Nuhu Ribadu's job would have been, or anybody in that position, do you think their jobs would have been threatened?
No, I don't think so. You see, that Mr. President decided to make the National Security Advisor a Nuhu Ribadu shouldn't be seen as a discount. No. You see, the NSA, as in Nuhu Ribadu, is a personification of that office. It was up to Nuhu Ribadu to have built himself a team. Look, the best general can be NSA and still fail woefully if he does not have the right heads in the National Security Agency. He is a National Security Advisor. What I'm trying to tell you is today, as we speak, intelligence is useless if the handler is not intelligent. Okay? That's one of the first things I was taught when I was being handled as an intelligence officer way back. You could have intelligence right under your nose, even smelling. And it could be useless if you are not intelligent. So where am I going? When Nuhu Ribadu, just like retired General Monguno, when Nuhu Ribadu became NSA, on a program, I said something in form of an advice for him. And what did I say? You see, as an NSA, you have to be an embodiment of 3 attributes. You have to be a lion, you have to be a fox, and you have to be a peacock. And I explained all 3 and reached out through people that I felt are close to him. In fact, as close to him as my ear is to my head. Alas. But I would have advised him to do certain things which would have put him not only in charge, but you have also put him in control. You see, NSAs are not meant to be seen. They are hardly heard, but there is a way they go about it and no one doubts who is in charge. Now, that is where I think Malam Nuhu Ribadu dropped the ball. Yes, because it's one thing for you to be NSA. It's one thing for you to have competent hands with you there in the agency. And it's also another thing for you to make them understand that even as competent as they are, you have them being watched every minute of the day. It compels them to report to you all the time. So our kind of job, or my former kind of job, the intelligence community, is fraught with a lot of intrigues. And it's also fraught with what we call smoke and mirrors. And if you don't know your onion, then you become the fall guy. Yes, the NSA is going to have some explaining to do, but I promise you it's not about him alone. It's also about his team of officers there. And I tell you, the officers in the national security agencies are not policemen. They are generals. They are people who know the intelligence community as well as the intelligence community knows them. But then, as I told you, intelligence could be utterly useless if whoever is handling intelligence is not intelligent. It's a very, very key prerequisite.
I know that you're vast in this. Where does that leave Ribadu now that the service chiefs have been, have been changed? We're not really sure because I know that in a coup situation, most of the times the NSA, if that coup exposure didn't come from the NSA, it seems to suggest that the NSA may have compromised or is complicit in that kind of scenario. What do you think about that?
Well, what I straight on, the list of officers who were relieved of their offices, one officer was retained, and that's Major General Aka Udiande, is the Chief of Defense Intelligence. The news we got came from the Defense Intelligence Agency of the foiled plot. The NSA has been silent, so have anything coming from his quarters. Now, there are certain things we do, and you did no telling that once such things happen, there is a likelihood that may have rendered him persona non grata. It's nothing personal, it's just professional. If something happened under your watch, then the honorable thing and the safe thing to do from the presidency or from the quarters of the presidential advisory and offices may just be to honorable tell you thank you for your service, sir. You will have to go. It's possible.
I mean, this forces or compels us to, take a step back and look at. I'm sorry, am I interrupting? But
No.
let me quickly push this in. It makes us to look back at the appointment of Nuhu Ribadu as the NSA. At that point, the rumor mongers, the news that was flying around on social media was that the relationship that Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has with Madam Nuhu Ribadu was just so strong that Mr. President felt that this is someone that is like my own. He knows me into my bedroom. In Hausa, they'll say, "Ya sanne har cikin ɗaki."
That's true.
But this has not worked. This has not worked for Mr. President in the rise of this attempted coup. Did Mr. President err in putting sentiments ahead of professionalism to protect himself as in employing the NSA?
I think to a certain degree, Mr. President compensated his allies and friends with certain appointments. So here's the thing. If you were a friend of Mr. President, for example, Jimbo Umar, knowing you are a media person, he may have made you his Minister of Communication or something like that. But you see, that I was loyal to you and that I invested in your success does not make me competent for any office you think. When I say competent, I'm not talking about suitable. You are suitable does not mean you are competent. Let me give an example Nigerians can relate to it, okay? Because it has to do with football. I know everybody follows football. A certain gentleman called Arsene Wenger. I don't recall him playing football one day. I don't. I can't. Try. But you know what? He sat in a club and turned it to a what? A 5-star club. I remember Arsene Wenger would pick people from the dustbin of football history and brush them up and polish them. And before you know that, he's giving them out for so much. That's it. That's it. That's competence. Malan Nubadu was more of a loyalist than he was of somebody that could say was skilled in the business of intelligence. If he was really skilled in the business of intelligence, he didn't have to be a retired military officer to sit there. All he needed to do was to put the machineries in place that makes him a lion, a fox, and a peacock. I used to read one of my, the founding father of the CIA, and they used to put it this way: you see, as a lion, you are feared, you are a conduit, and as a fox, you are cunning and smart, and as a peacock, you are loved by all. So you have to wear the toga selectively as time requires, and that's who an NSA is. He's never seen, he's never had, but he maintains an absent presence everywhere, even within his own men's ranks. That's how NSAs behave. They know what you are thinking even before you think about it. But then, if you exhibit any of such in deficit, then right there within the NSA, there could be moles. Okay, yes, there could be moles who will exploit you and make you look bad. So, as a leader, you will have to take responsibility for whatever the president makes of his agency as of now.
Now, let me see if this will be an appropriate one to ask you. General Christopher Musa, the former CDS. Many think and have this notion of his contribution to national security, fighting the insurgents in the Northeast. He has had that experience. He has got, look at his profile. His profile is just full of one achievement to another achievement to the next achievement. And people feel that somebody like this, who brought the attention of this attempted coup to Mr. President, may have gotten a better treatment. Well, what do you make of that?
First things first, Umar. You see, our kind of job is a thankless job. What do I mean by the thankless job? You really can't thank a man enough for choosing to place his life online to defend his nation. But having said that, General Musa was an infantry officer. We served together while I was in the army. I was adjutant in my unit. He was adjutant 2 Mechanized Division camp. General Musa was also, if I want to say, someone who is not new to northern Nigeria. He's from Kaduna State, and he also schooled in Sokoto State. General Musa is also somebody who was not, he was born into soldiering. His father was a soldier. So he's like me, whose father was a soldier. They are all barrack boys. So General Musa can relate with the soldiers because his father was one. He can relate with officers because he became one. He can relate with generals because he is one. And he can also relate with civilians because they attended civil schools like the one in Sokoto. So what I'm trying to say here is this. I'm not particularly surprised by the way he was treated because here home, just like they say in the Bible, a prophet is not valued in his hometown. I have seen generals who were also exemplary and they were not given the kind of treatment they required, all in the name of politics. So General Musa has done well. Not everything he did went down well, he fine. But on the aggregate, if I were to say one or two things about him, I would say he did very well. He did very well. He's going home to rest now. He's going out of active service. I know he's a very smart and intelligent officer, and I wouldn't be surprised if he puts himself to some endeavor who will still profit, promote, and benefit national security. I'm waiting to hear that, but I won't be surprised. He's that kind of person. He is proactive and is a creative person. Yes, indeed.
Interesting indeed. We'll wait to hear how that pans out at the end. But I most sincerely thank you, Captain Ali Umar, retired, for talking to us here on Frontal Politics. here on Control TV. The lines are not very good, but I'm sure that YouTube is doing the needful to make it as clear as possible from my end and from your end. And to everyone who has been part of this show, I want to thank you so much indeed for being a part of it and for watching. You can share and like us as quickly as you can, just so that we're able to get the perspective of a military man, retired, albeit, Captain Aliu Umar. Thank you again.
And this was one that broke last night, where it was revealed that some military officials actually went to the home of a former Nigerian governor and a former Nigerian minister, the same person, and raided his home over being a financier and one of those who are planning a coup to overthrow the current administration. His aide has come out to say that that is not true. He did not flee the country. I'm talking about a former governor, Tinubu, former minister as well. But here is the thing. When this coup reports came out, the defense headquarters came out and said they were not aware of anything like that. So does this now justify that report that there was indeed a plot? If the military and the Defense Intelligence Agency is going to raid the home of someone and even picked up his brother, does this confirm that there are indeed some military officials working to topple this administration in conjunction with others?
Well, up till now, even as we speak, the government has not accepted or agreed that there was a planned coup. Even as we speak, government said nothing like that happened. That the change in the security architecture, the leadership of the security agencies of the country, that the such change is a mere routine by Mr. President, who, of course, as the commander-in-chief, has the authority and power to change and to hire and fire. He hired and he fired. That there was no link with any coup. They said that there was nothing like that. But if there was nothing like that, then why is there now the report that the former governor and the former minister, his house has been ransacked, both in his home state in Bayelsa and his country and his Abuja residence in Maitama, that there have been those homes were ransacked, and the report said that the one in Bayelsa that they saw some incriminating evidence. But then, why would there be incriminating evidence when the government said there was nothing like that? So, what's the meaning of the ransacking of his house? Will you reprobate at the same time? The elders in Bayelsa, one elder statesman now questioned why would their son be troubled when there was nothing like that. I think that going by the position of the government that there was nothing like that, then any effort made to connect anybody with any phantom coup will be an effort in unnecessary witch hunting, because they said there was nothing like that. So why are they talking about coup of 1983 or that of 1995? So why was the man's house ransacked? So these are things that government must explain to Nigerians. I keep always saying that when you run government as a secret society, grave information will be dropped from the grapevine, and rumor mill will take over the right channel of communication. There's nothing wrong with communicating with the people what the truth is, so that there will be no guesswork, there will be no speculation. But when government acts in one way and speaks in the other way, it leaves a lot of gap in between, and such gaps will just be filled by rumor mills. As for today, we don't know what the truth is, whether there was a coup plot or not. But if government keeps ransacking people's houses and on account of that, and then changing the security architecture, firing and sacking, they are leaving a lot of room for public speculation, which is not necessary or needed at this time of our national life.
Talking about leaving room for speculation, the DSS actually traced a man to Oyigbo in Port Harcourt and arrested him. What this man did was he posted something on X that was formerly called Twitter, saying that the military he talked about the military taking over Nigeria, toppling this present administration, and even called the president a bastard. And the military traced this person the DSS traced him to his location because he deactivated, or maybe his account was suspended, right? So now there is this talks of a coup plot. Would you say that all of this actually show the feeling of Nigerians towards the current administration?
Well, it is very essential that many people are disenchanted with what is going on in the country. But no matter how disenchanted a citizen is, we have only one way, or rather two ways of removing a sitting president. Way number one is by impeachment through the National Assembly. Way number two is by election. Come next general election, presidential election, you vote him out. Any other way is not known by our laws. Any other way is illegitimate and can lead to treasonable charge. So anybody, whether you like Mr. President or not, whether you like his policy or not, whether you are suffering or not, you must tighten your belt and wait for the day of election. Except if your representative in the National Assembly want to represent you well by kicking at the door of Mr. President and dropping an impeachment notice. Anything other than that is unacceptable in our democratic environment, or rather in our civilian rule environment.
All right then, Vice President Zako.
So my people, that is it. I make I bring this update to you guys. Thank you so much. If you are still watching up to this point, please, if today is your first time, just as I said before, don't forget to subscribe and also turn on the post notification bell. It is very important, because if you just subscribe without turning the post notification bell on, when I upload the new video, you will not be aware. So turn on the post notification so that anytime I upload a new video, YouTube will notify you. And also, please share the video to your friends and family. Give me a thumbs up so that YouTube will recommend this particular video for other people to watch. Thank you so much, everyone. I truly appreciate you all. Yes, I'm going to see you guys in my next update. Goodbye for now.
Welcome to Shamra Seniors TV. Come on,